is your name, please?
My name is Rear Admiral Robert B. Moore.
My name is Rear Admiral Robert B. Moore.
My name is Rear Admiral Robert B. Moore.
Only one of these men is the real Admiral Moore. The other two are imposters and will try to fool this panel. Tom Poston, Kitty Carlisle, Don Ameche, and Peggy Cass on To Tell the Truth with your host, Bud Collier.
Thank you very much. Welcome once again to Tell the Truth. Tell the Truth is brought to you this week by the makers of Easy Off Oven Cleaner, the easy way to make dirtiest ovens sparkle like new. Easy Off Oven Cleaner. Don, nice to have you back.
I thank you, Bud. I'm delighted to be
We've
back.
missed you. It's always a joy to have you here.
Thank you.
Panel, will you kindly open your envelopes and take out your first affidavit cards for tonight and follow along as I read. I, Rear Admiral Robert B. Moore, am commander of the Atlantic Barrier. The Atlantic Barrier consists of a continuous patrol of planes and ships which protects the North American continent with a radar shield extending from Newfoundland to the Azores. It is our duty to warn of any suspicious aircraft approaching our shores. To date, we have flown more than 23 million miles on some 10,000 missions. Our ships and planes have been on continuous patrol 24 hours a day since July the 1st, 1956. Signed, Rear Admiral Robert B. Moore. Panel, you heard these three gentlemen, as did I, all claiming to be Rear Admiral Robert B. Moore, commander of the Atlantic Barrier. And let's begin this first round of questioning tonight with Kitty Carlisle. Kitty?
Thank you, Bud. It's a great honor to be questioning you three gentlemen, and particularly the one who is really Admiral Moore. And I'm a little undone by the honor, but I will start with number one. Number one, what is the name of the the admiral who was recently allowed to go on active duty even though he had reached retirement age? Number one. Number two?
I wonder if you're referring to Admiral Rickover.
Number three, can you tell me what sonar is?
Sonar? That's the detection system for detecting submarines and underwater objects.
Thank you. Number one, can you tell me how many planes you have that have been able to be on 24-hour duty? Or are you going to tell me that's a secret? Yeah, I thought so.
It varies.
It's always a secret. Anytime you ask for something specific, it's always a secret.
Number one, if you were cruising and a real emergency came up, if you were out on maneuvers and a real emergency came up, what would be the words that would be sounded over the loudspeaker?
What, in a plane?
No, on a ship.
A real emergency?
Yes, sir.
What kind of emergency?
Just an out-and-out all emergency where you really had to go to battle stations. What would be the call?
General quarter.
Now, number two, how long was the newest record for the submarine, the nuclear submarine being underwater?
I'm not in the submarine business, sir. I don't have it.
Number three, what is the area through which the shaft of the propeller passes? What is that called in a destroyer?
In a destroyer?
Yes, sir.
I wouldn't know, sir.
Peggy?
Number one, what is a Mustang in the Navy?
It's an officer who started out in the ranks.
Started out where?
In the ranks.
In the ranks.
Number two, where is Passamaquoddy Bay?
It's up off the coast of New England.
Which state, please? Number two.
Maine.
Thank you. Number three, do bosuns really pipe?
Not anymore.
They don't pipe anymore?
Well, pipe that, Tom.
Oh, thank you, Bud. Number three, what is a floor called in the Navy?
Deck.
What is a ceiling called, still number three?
Overhead.
What's a rope called in the Navy?
Sheet.
A rope is... Thank you. Number two, how come you guys don't use the words everybody else does?
They're real Navy fellas.
Number two, maybe you can tell me, in honor of Miss Polly Bergen, who is in California, what are knees?
In a ship.
Knees in a ship, I'm not sure, sir. Depends on what kind we're talking about.
I mean, they have active duty waves?
I'm not versed in what Polly is interested in this department.
Well, as a matter of fact, neither are we. But in any event, Kitty.
Number 3, you were using apparently words. I've been asked before, you know.
Why did she get a second
I didn't
turn?
Get
Did I get a second turn?
No, you don't. I'm sorry. I didn't get
all right.
the usual signal. Forgive me.
Well, I was interested in answering 4 questions.
Forgive me. I would like to let you do it, but we can't. So that means time is up. It's time to vote. Cast your ballots, if you will, please. And so do so now, without consultation. Mark your ballots for number 1, number 2, or number 3. And as is our constant custom, the team of challengers will receive $250 for every incorrect vote. Tom, for whom did you vote?
I voted for number 2. He isn't the first man who was unable to answer Polly's question about knees.
And he won't be the last.
And he won't be the last.
That's right.
That's who I voted for.
Kitty, thank you for reminding me we were starting a second time round. What is your vote?
I voted for number 3 on the basis of how he said his name, and because he answered those questions that you said, and then you said they weren't the right answers about the terminology. Number 2 said Rickover, but then I knew about that, so I thought he might have known about that as a layman, too.
Okay, Don, your vote, please.
I voted for number 1, Bud. And I would rather not divulge my reasons for arriving at this decision.
Peggy, which one do you think is the real one?
I voted for number 1 because he looks the most naval.
Yeah.
Spell that.
All righty. Yeah. Am I glad it's time to find out a few things here now. Votes are in, the minds are made up in a sort of bizarre way. And, oh, it's all right. It's another maneuver like other things in the Navy. Let's leave it right where it is and find out which of these, what else can we do with it except leave it right where it is? Which of these 3 gentlemen is the commander of the Atlantic Barrier? So will the real Rear Admiral Robert B. Moore please stand up? Kitty, you're upset because you didn't know Rickover.
Yes, you didn't know about Rickover?
Probably was a misunderstanding in the question. He said which admiral, which probably no other lead.
Yes, of course.
Yeah,
There may be a
have
lot
a
of
little
them.
surprise for you, panel, and this may add some of the tension. Admiral Moore was on to tell the truth 4 years ago. At that time, he was Captain Moore, and then he was on as an imposter for Bing Crosby's brother, Ted Crosby. Remember? All right. Let's find out about the other 2 now, if we may, please. Number 2, would you tell us your real name and what you really do, please?
My name is Barney Oldfield. I'm with the North American Air Defense Command in Colorado Springs, Colorado. I'm a colonel in the United States Air Force.
Is that Barney Oldfield the race?
Just a minute. There's more to this.
That one's dead, Tom.
Yes, he is dead.
Incidentally, Bud, I also was on that show with then Captain Moore and also was an imposter for Bing Crosby's brother, Ted.
Got the 2 of them back together again, and we thought it might be kind of fun. And now, number 3, what about you, sir?
Ted Crosby.
I'm with North American Weather Consultants and Northwest Leasing, and my name is Ted Crosby.
In case you're the least bit confused.
Is it Bing's brother?
Then I wouldn't blame you. Absolutely. These same 3 gentlemen were on to tell the truth as a team on January 29th, 1957. And at that time, they all claimed to be Bing Crosby's brother, Ted. And you got 3 votes.
Gee. Weren't you
got 1 tonight, which is something.
Weren't you lucky that Admiral Moore amounted to something in between times so he could come back on as the head one?
Otherwise, we couldn't have done it. That's right, Tom. In checking the score, we find, let me see, that there were 2 incorrect votes tonight at $250 each for a total of $500 from Easy Off Oven Cleaner. And, of course, a gift box of fine products from the makers of Easy Off for all of you. Thank you so much for playing our little fun game with us tonight. Good night, and God bless you. Very well, panel, let's meet our next team of challengers.
What is your name, please?
My name is Sidney Spevak.
My name is Sidney Spevak. My name is Sidney Spevak.
Follow along for the second time with your copies of an affidavit, if you will, panel, as I read from mine. I, Sidney Spevak, am a member of the Police Department of Riverside, California. I am a college graduate with a degree in sociology. At present, I am working as a plainclothes detective specializing in forgery and bad check cases. I am known by the local underworld as the Lady Fuzz. Signed, Sidney Spevak. Three pretty young ladies this time, panel, each claiming to be Sidney Spevak, detective, and we begin this round with Don Ameche. Don?
Number 2, how far is Riverside from Palm Springs?
It's about an hour's drive.
About an hour's ride?
Drive.
You estimate in the neighborhood of 60 miles, then, is that right?
Oh, yes.
Number 3, what is the name of the mission in Riverside?
Mission Inn, you mean?
Number 1, what is the camp right close by Riverside called?
That's Air Force Base.
Number 2, who is the head of the police force of Los Angeles?
Chief Parker.
Peggy.
Number 1, how far is Riverside from Los Angeles?
It's approximately 50 miles.
Thank you. Number 2, why do they call you the Lady Fuzz? I mean, why Fuzz?
Fuzz is an expression for policeman, or another slang term is cop.
Oh, Fuzz is a cop, I see. Thank you. And number 3, is flick an expression for policeman? Another slang expression?
Occasionally.
Yes, thank you. See, you don't know. Number 1, was Elliot Ness a real person?
Yes, he was.
Number 2, what police department? Oh, I'm through.
Tom.
Thank you. Number 3, I know cop comes from the copper-lined hats that the English bobbies used to. I guess American police, too. What does fuzz come from? Do you happen to know? Number 3.
No, I don't know where the term comes from. It's strictly underworld, and I don't have that much knowledge of their...
Don't have that much now. Tell me, what law covers the passing of bad checks, number 3?
Felony, or misdemeanor, according whether it's passing a bad check or forging one.
Is it, number 1, is it a local as well as a federal law?
Well, it can be, but it's usually the penal code.
I'm sorry.
It's called the 470 Penal Code. That's the law that covers it.
Thank you. Number 2, there was a famous bad check passer, Carol Cannon. Do you remember where she operated?
No, I don't.
Number 3?
No, I don't.
Kitty.
Number 1, how far is Banning from Riverside?
Banning?
Banning.
I'm sorry, I don't know.
Number 2? Number 3?
I don't know.
Number 2, you don't know how far Banning is from Riverside?
It's about 10 or 15 miles, I would say.
Number 3, are they building a freeway around Banning and Riverside in order to get to Palm Springs?
Well, there are 2 freeways to Riverside now.
Number 1, can you tell me what you wear on the job? Do you wear anything that could hide firearms? Or do you carry a gun?
Yes, I carry a gun.
Number 2, do you wear anything that could hide...
That's it. Panel, it's time now to cast your ballots, if you will, please. So will you kindly do so now, without any consultation? Mark your ballots and vote for number 1, number 2, or number 3. Everybody set? Tom, for whom did you vote this trip?
This trip, voted for number 3. I thought she looked the most like the kind of a girl who could be a cop without looking like a cop. It makes sense to me.
Kitty, your ballot, please.
I voted for number 2 because Banning and Riverside are like the Village and 96th Street, practically. And if you don't know how far one is from the other, you don't come from Riverside.
Don.
Yes, I had to vote for number 2 because of the, does it say number 2? It is number 2, because of the banning answer. It's a strange 2, but it is.
It's an odd-looking 2,
Yes.
but it's all right. It's in orbit. Peg.
Yes.
I voted for number 2 because Don Ameche looked so shocked when nobody knew where Banning was.
All right, there we have it now. With our minds made up, we come to our own particular moment of truth as we learn how right or wrong our guesses and our attempts at solving our own special puzzle each night is. And if you're voting along with us, get tense now, if you like, as we find out which of these 3 young ladies is the real plainclothes detective. So will the real Sidney Spevak please stand up? It's just a long distance from the village to 96th Street out there, that's all. All right, number 1, let me see. Your real name, please, and what you really do.
My name is Kathleen O'Rourke, and I do medical research here in New York.
Well, thank you. And number 3, your real name and what you do, please.
Candy Taylor, and I'm a professional ice skater.
Once again, we check the score, and this time we find that with 3 correct votes, panel did very well on that one. Only 1 incorrect at $250 from Easy Off Oven.
Fun of me.
And, of course, a gift box of fine products from the makers of Easy Off Oven Cleaner. Thank you very much for being with us. I hope we gladdened your time as you did ours. Good night. Here we go again, panel. May I introduce our 3rd team of challengers?
What is your name, please?
My name is Dr. Richard Van Gelder.
My name is Dr. Richard Van Gelder.
My name is Dr. Richard Van Gelder.
Follow along again, panel, if you will, please, to your copies of this affidavit. I, Dr. Richard Van Gelder, am chairman of the Department of Mammals of the American Museum of Natural History. As such, I am responsible for supervising one of the world's largest and most complete collections of mammals, which numbers almost 200,000 specimens. While I am familiar with most mammals, I do have a specialty. I am one of the world's leading authorities on skunks. Signed, Dr. Richard Van Gelder. Three gentlemen this time, panel, each claiming to be Dr. Richard Van Gelder, skunk expert, and we'll, as our first scent tracker downer, we'll ask Tom Poston to begin the questioning.
Thank you. Why me? Just me.
Nothing
Just because
personal.
skunks are there. Number 2, what does your dad do?
My dad is dead.
All right. That's what he does, I guess, all right. Number 1, maybe you could tell me what genus of mammal the skunk is. To what genus does the skunk belong?
You want the scientific name of the skunk? Mephitis is the...
And how many species are there, number 1?
There are 3, the spotted skunk, the striped skunk, and the hognose skunk.
Number 3, what is the nearest animal in relation to the skunk that is not considered a part of that genus?
Well, in North America, it would probably be a badger, but the skunks are a distinct group.
Kitty.
Number 1, what's a civet?
A civet is a small animal related to the cat,
It's not a skunk.
not technically a skunk.
Number 2, who is Fairfield Osborne?
Fairfield Osborne is an author.
Is what?
An author.
Number 3, can you tell me if the skunk gives out that terrible smell when he's angry, or when he's fearful, or if he just does it for fun?
It's a defense mechanism so that he might do it when he was angry, mostly when he's frightened.
Mostly frightened, not...
Yes.
Uh-huh. He does it to frighten away other people. I mean,
Or
other animals.
Yes.
Do other animals like it?
Apparently not, or it wouldn't work.
They don't like it either.
Don Ameche.
Number 1, where did you, thank you, but number 1, where did you go to college?
New York University,
What did you major in?
zoology.
Number 2, where did you take your doctorate, at what college?
University of Vermont
And number 3, what did you write your thesis on, your doctorate thesis?
My doctorate thesis was on skunks.
Was on skunks?
Yes.
Number 1.
He just loved that subject.
Number 1, did you take your major your second degree before the doctorate? Where'd you take that?
And also at New York
Master's
University.
degree.
My master's was also at New York University.
At New York University.
Yes.
Number 2, how did you become interested in mammals?
Well, I had a professor that was my advisor that interested me in the subject. There had not been any work done on skunks for 50 years when I came along to do my work, and he led me into it.
Number 3.
Let him into it. You heard the other one say it's a distinct species.
Distinct species, yes. Number 1, is a dolphin a mammal?
Yes, it is.
Number 2, is a porpoise a mammal?
Yes, it is.
Number 3, who is Dr. Ernest Hooton?
Dr. Ernest Hooton is dead. He was an anthropologist.
Number 1, who is Fairfield Osborne?
Fairfield Osborne is the president of the Bronx Zoo.
Number 3, if you're at the museum, you mostly deal in dead skunks, dead mammals, right?
While I'm at the museum, yes.
Well,
He likes them live, too.
He likes them live, he likes them dead. So don't worry your pretty head. Let's just get on to voting as we must now without any further ado, and certainly without consultation. Will you mark your ballots? And vote for number 1, number 2, or number 3. Are we set? Now we ready? Okay, Tom, which one this time?
Well, for my own reasons, probably having nothing to do with zoological fact, I voted for number 1 because he knew what the civet cat was, and I assumed that was the closest relative to the skunk, but that may be completely erroneous. It was the answer I expected when I asked number 3, and he said a badger. He probably is right.
Kitty.
I voted for number 3. Fairfield Osborne is the head of the Bronx Zoo, and number 2 said he was an author. Number 3 gave answers that I thought were right, and I didn't hear what the 3 species he said in the beginning. I didn't hear the last one. It sounded like hoagie or something.
Hognose.
Hognose.
Don Ameche, your vote, please.
I voted for number 1, Bud, and ever since I put number 1 down, I've been trying to think why, and I can't think of a good reason why.
Well, that's clear and to the point. Peggy.
I voted for number 3 because he knew who Dr. Ernest Hooton was.
All right,
That's right, I forgot
straight
that.
into
Yeah,
the point, and you're making up your mind as clearly and well as that, you'll be doing all right. Watch now as we discover, to our own amazement possibly, which one of these 3 gentlemen is the real skunk expert and mammal authority. So will the real Dr. Richard Van Gelder please stand up? Thank you, sir, very much. Number 1, would you tell us your real name and what you really do, please?
My name is Jack Farron, and I'm the producer of the television show Concentration.
Number 2, we know that you're not an authority on skunks. Would you tell us your real name and what you really do?
My name is Frank Conkling. I am president of Airchem Incorporated. We make Airwick.
So there you are. And checking up on our score, we find a little case of 2 and 2 here. We have 2 right and 2 wrong, and the 2 wrong total up at $250 each, as wrong votes, therefore, a total of $500 from Easy Off Oven Cleaner, as well, of course, as a gift package of fine products from the makers of Easy Off. Gentlemen, thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed your visit. We certainly enjoyed having you here. Good night. Good luck to you. Interesting little observation on our panel tonight. If you go from one end of the panel to the other, you go from one extreme to the other, and they're voting facilities. At one end, 3 wrong. At the other end, 3 right. I'll leave it to you to figure out who they are. And that's about all the information I have for the public tonight. Good night, panel.
Good night.
Good night, Bud.
Bud Collins saying good night from Easy Off Oven Cleaner and reminding you to tell the truth. Good night, everybody.
To Tell the Truth is a Mark Goodson, Bill Todman production.
The name in our mailbox is Porter.
To our friends, we're Pete and Gladys.
And we're at home next on most of these stations.
Drop in.
To Tell the Truth has been brought to you tonight by Dristan Decongestant Cough Medicine. Stops coughing due to colds or bronchial irritation. Dristan Decongestant Cough Medicine. Johnny Olson saying good night from To Tell the Truth. This program was pre-recorded.